starters, 9 guys average double-digit minutes, and Coach Nichols will run them in and out of there pretty quick. I watched their game on tape against Bucknell, the win they had earlier in the week, coming in overtime. And you've got to be on your toes if you're Utah to figure out who you're guarding, because if you're not careful, they'll run 2 or 3 subs in. You won't be matched up very well.
Nassar misses both at the free throw line. Not all the starters still on the floor for Radford, but there was the starting 5 for the Highlanders.
Nice rebound by Sharab Jumps. This Radford team, very good offensive rebounding team. They average 14 offensive rebounds a game. They are +8 in the rebound department, so the Utes will have to pay attention to what they're doing in and around the rim.
Lovering's hook shot rolls off, and we're still scoreless more than a minute in. Radford winners of 5 straight. An overtime victory 6 nights ago at home against the Bucknell Bison in their most recent game. Nice backdoor cut, but a rejection from Lovering underneath as he turned aside Brandon Macklin.
That's what you call the long arm of the law there. 7'1" with long arms is Lovering, a legitimate rim protector, and that is great news for the Utes there, getting Sharab Jumps off the tee a little bit. He had his first scoreless game last Saturday night against St. Mary's.
They only played 7 minutes in that contest, only attempted 1 shot from the field, and had only scored a combined 6 points over Utah's last 3 games.
Boy, shooting it off with that 3 of 7 his last 17 in those 3 games where he had trouble scoring.
Truth Harris hits from the outside for Radford. It was just 2 of 16 from the field in that Bucknell game on Sunday.
Well, he had come off 3 straight double-digit games where he was averaging 14 points, and he couldn't buy a basket against Bucknell.
Moss's attempt horseshoes off the cylinder. Madsen loses the handle. And last touched by Radford. Going to stay here with 24 to shoot. So a slow start for Utah on this end. A couple of early turnovers. They've gotten 1 of their first 2 from the field, and Craig Smith not wasting any time, going to some substitutes as Mason Madsen has checked in, along with Caleb Lohner, who made his Utah debut a week ago against St. Mary's. Hunter Erickson is also in the game for the Utes.
Caleb Lohner had a huge impact, especially in the second half against St. Mary's. 8 points, 5 rebounds. 2 of those were offensive rebounds.
Lohner across the lane to Lovering, and they'll count it plus a foul. So the 2 bigs hook up in the low post. Lohner dishing out an early assist off the bench.
Yeah, what a great pass here by Lohner out of that double team, and a great finish by the 7'1" Lawson Lovering, who has had his own impact, playing just his 4th game now. He's a leading rebounder on the team and leading field goal percentage guy. Real interesting stat on him. He has 23 rebounds. 15 of them are offensive rebounds. I'm talking about Lawson Lovering. That's averaging 5 offensive rebounds a game. If he does that the rest of the year, he'll be one of the best offensive rebounders in the entire nation.
Early 4-3 lead for the Utes. And a foul away from the basketball on Radford as Truth Harris picks up his first. Jonas Suryaudis seeing some early minutes for Radford, along with TJ Neesmith. Well, you have to look up every other possession to see if Radford has made changes.
You know, when I was playing a team like this as a head coach, I would practice that through the week. We'd do a simulated scrimmage, and I'd have an assistant coach run 3 or 4 subs in at a time so guys could communicate on who they're guarding, because it is a challenge when a team substitutes this much.
Madsen fires away. Misses his first attempt off the heel, and Suryaudis able to save it in front of the Radford bench.
Tony Fielder now running the point. Usually Radford will play with 3 bigs and 2 wings, almost not a pure point guard, but when Fielder's in there, they play a little bit smaller.
Foul on the floor before the Jarvis Moss shot attempt, and it's been a big breakout season for the senior from Concord, North Carolina, who spent 2 years at Stanford and played a game here inside Huntsman Center a couple years ago as a sophomore for the Cardinal. Didn't see much time at Davidson last year, but Darius Nichols told us it was the 2nd time they had heavily recruited Moss in the portal, and he leads them at more than 15 points a game. as he's whistled for an offensive foul, initiating the contact on the corner 3 attempt.
Well, he's got 3 20-point games, 6 double-figure games, 1 30-point game. So as you say, he is really flourishing under this Radford Highlanders system so far. They're only double-digit scorer on the entire team. They've got 2 guys at 9 and then him at 15.
Moss missing his first 3 attempts as he heads to the bench. Matson underneath. That's Mason for 2.
Gabe Matson assist to his brother on a nice drive, and found his brother Mason on a nice cut to the basket.
Siryaudis off balanced and flips it in.
How about that? Siryaudis, a guy that didn't play a lot, only played in 7 games with no starts, coming off his season high 6 points. He's feeling pretty good about things.
Erickson buries the corner 3.
Hunter Erickson, kind of the super 6th man on this team, played all 37 games last year, and I've called him time and time again a star role player on this team. Does so many things that doesn't show up on the stat line.
Neesmith spinning inside, powers it up and missed it. Madsen rhythm 3. Yes, sir.
And a very simple but appropriate pass by Lauder, and Madsen caught it in stride, as you said, and rhythmed right up into that 3. His brother Gabe leads the Big 12 in made threes, and he is 5th in the Big 12 in made threes.
6 quick ones for the Utes as Felder misfires, and a long rebound carobs out to Gabe Madsen.
That's good defense by Gabe. Mason Madsen there, hand up, contesting that shot.
It's Mason with a heat check. Off the side of the iron. Lohner trying to chase it down. He does, and he throws it off the lower half of Siryaudis. Oh, the tight end runs it down in the corner, and Utah will keep it when we return. Electric start for the Utes at home. 12-5 over Radford at our first stoppage, 5 minutes in. You gotta love the hustle. All right, from the gridiron to the hardwood, Caleb Lohner had 4 catches for Kyle Whittingham's Utah Utes this fall. All of them went for touchdowns. That's a pretty good percentage, Coach.
4 for 4, yeah, not too bad.
And now in his second game with Craig Smith's running Utes. Had a nice impact in his debut. 8 points, 5 boards on 4 of 9 from the field against the St. Mary's Gales here last Saturday. And a nice hustle play before that last time out to keep the possession with Utah. And as Craig Smith told us earlier this week, his energy is contagious. A nice mid-non-conference addition for this team.
Well, he's not just a guy that showed up to play a little basketball after football. This is his 133rd game in his career. Of course, a COVID guy that this is his 5th year. Played 2 years at BYU. His 2nd year, he started 31 of 34 games. And then the next 2 years at Baylor, participated and played in 69 games, all of them off the bench. So he brings a wealth of experience to the basketball court.
Well, that is Gabe Madsen's 248th triple in a Utah uniform. Good for 2nd most in program history. And in the blink of an eye, Utah has ballooned this lead to double figures with a 13-2 stretch.
Well, they've come out with a little bit of the eye of the tiger, both ends of the court there, and a nice turnaround jump shot by the starter, Ibu Yamazaki, who is coming off a career high in minutes, 37 in their last game.
Yamazaki from Matsudo in Japan, as Utah has a takeaway. Madsen pulls the trigger. Misses this one wide to the right. And controlled by Radford. Highlanders, this is their 3rd power conference game. Their lone 2 defeats on the season at the hands of ACC opponents. Lost on opening night at Pitt and late last month to Clemson. A pair of teams that at one point or another have been in the AP top 25 this season. Macklin.
As you mentioned, at 9-2, it's their best start in 36 years. And it's hard for me to believe at 9-2, they're picked 7th in the 9-team Big South.
Madsen baseline hangs, and a late whistle and a foul.
I got a feeling Mason Madsen knew he was in a position not to make a basket there, but to get a foul. The way he kind of threw himself, or Gabe Madsen, I'm sorry, to get himself to the free throw line, where he has had an outstanding year, shooting 88%, 22 for 25. Watch this, Chris, how he lines the ball up, gets it right into his shooting pocket there. And from that point, if you're a shooting coach or you're a shooting guy, all you have to do is shoot at the right distance. You're not going to go right or left. Watch this time as he dribbles it and then lines it right up in what coaches will call right under that right armpit, right into his shooting pocket. And then again, good shooters don't miss left or right. Good shooters miss long or short. Right there, right to that shooting pocket. And then all he's got to do is shoot at the right distance. I got a feeling his dad, Luke, who coached he and his brother, spent a lot of time shooting free throws.
Well, Madsen exits with 5 points. His brother Mason has also chipped in with 5 early points off the bench. Radford just 3 of 10 to lift the lid off this game on this end. There's a 3 for Harris. And a late whistle. Lawson Lovering had his heel out of bounds.
I tell you, watch the Utes away from the ball. Look at the great energy they're playing defense with, and then watch them go to the glass to rebound. Lawson Lovering getting a hit by Azar. Yeah, when you got about size 14 or 15 and you're 7'1", it's tough to sneak that one by. But watch them away from the ball. Boy, they were playing with great energy and awareness defensively.
Moss has now missed all 4 of his attempts, and they say last touched by Josiah Harris. So a 3 for 12 start on that end for Radford. They did shoot just 39% in their overtime win Sunday at home against Bucknell. Madsen had it partially blocked by Moss from behind. Utah recovers the loose ball. Erickson lobs it. Asar lays it in.
And it's nice to see Asar get rewarded by that hustle play. That block from Madsen, Azar got into the middle of that scrum, tapped the ball out of there, and then was rewarded by that by getting an easy basket. Heads-up play by Ezra Azar.
His first points tonight.
Great defense by Jake Walling, staying down, staying between his man and the basket there.
Well, a lot of mid-range attempts early for Radford, and they have not connected on 10 of their first 13 from the field. Erickson knocks down the 3. Timeout Highlanders. Utah in the midst of a 16-2 stretch to build the lead to 15, less than 8 minutes in.
little fire in the eyes of the running Utes here today.
A little to the left, please. Thank you. A little more.
Oh, I'm okay.
Get your money working. And for a limited time, get 0% interest for 6 months when you open a new Visa credit card at America First.
Andre Miller, Andrew Bogan, Keith Van Horn, Delon Wright, Jakob Pertl, Kyle Kuzma from the University of Utah.
If teamwork is part of you, if passion is part of you, if dedication is part of you, if compassion is part of you, if purpose is part of you, if caring is part of you, be part of University of Utah Health.
The University of Utah lives in a thriving college city called Salt Lake. A very short train ride puts you in the heart of downtown, where you can dine, shop, and play. Go the other direction, and you're in the mountains, biking, hiking, or skiing. Only Utah lets you heed the call of a vibrant city or the beauty of the mountains.
Utah's Gabe Madsen has been a three-point marksman in his time with the Runnin' Utes, has added to his second-best total in program history, now 248 triples in a Utah uniform. That's the second most in program history, only behind Nick Jacobson, who played here from 2000 to 2004, and a good chance that Gabe finishes on top by the time it's all said and done.
Well, I would bet you pretty good money, or even my mother-in-law's car keys, as I'd like to say, that he gets becomes the all-time leading scorer. He already has the school record for the most made threes in a season at 105 last year, which was also 9th on the Pac-12 all-time made list in a year.
You still let your mother-in-law drive?
Well, she's got a bad car.
Okay.
So, you know, I just figured if I lose, what the heck.
Was that the one parked in the wrong spot earlier?
Could have been, though, my mother-in-law.
All right, how does Radford get on track here? Just 3 of 13 to lift the lid.
Well, their top 3 scorers haven't scored yet. They are 0 for 5 combined. Moss, Macklin, and Harris have yet to make a field goal. And as I said, the Utes came out with a little fire in their eye at both ends of the court, but certainly at the defensive end. Great energy, great communication. There has not been an uncontested shot, or think about it, a shot at the rim yet.
Yamazaki misses off the back iron. Long rebound for Asar. He races to the glass and had it poked out from behind by Macklin, and it touched off of Asar's heel on its way out of bounds. Nice hustle play from the junior from Jackson, Tennessee.
You talk about rebounding out of area. Asar came from the left side of the lane to all the way to the right side, high elbow, and chased that down, and he had visions of greatness in his eyes, hoping to take that down and stuff at the other end, but instead it ended up being the Utes' number 3 or 3rd turnover for the night.
Well, both teams will give a chance, will have a chance here to recalibrate, as one of the shot clocks has gone dark there inside Huntsman Center. Brandon Macklin, by the way, somebody that Darius Nichols has referred to as the best competitor on this Radford team. Feels like he's really elevated everybody in practice after this 9-2 start.
Well, ironically, Brandon Macklin played for a kid that I coached at University of Idaho, the head coach at Odessa College, Chris Bucket Bauman, one of the winningest coaches in junior college right now with over 400 career wins. I talked to him this week about Brandon, and boy, did he sing his praises. He said, I said, what position is him? He's got point guard stats. He said he is 1 through 4, and whatever you want him to be, that's what he's going to be.
Well, Macklin goes to the bank for his first bucket of this game, and you timed that up pretty well, Coach.
That wasn't too bad. He's got 2 20-point games. How about this? He's coming off, and I think you kind of categorize him as a point guard on this team. He's coming off a 14-point or 14-rebound game in their win over Bucknell. In fact, when was the last time, Chris, you broadcast a game with 2 point guards, both of them coming off double-digit rebound games, as Miro Little had 10 in their last game?
Well, Jarvis Moss finally hits on his 5th attempt. It's 5 straight for Radford, but Utah goes inside, and Lawson Lovering has an easy response.
And a really nice pass by Miro Little, who I just mentioned, coming off his first career double-double with 14 points, 10 rebounds in that loss to St. Mary's. I thought that was almost like a coming-out game for Miro Little. I thought he was outstanding. A season-high 36 minutes. And, boy, I thought he really orchestrated the Utes.
Shot clock into single digits. And a foul away from the basketball. Radford turns it over.
That last pass by Miro Little on that roll, pick and roll from Lawson Lovering. And the one thing about being 7'1" with long arms, you're almost always open. And Miro Little just threw it up around the rim, and Lawson Lovering went up and got it. Boy, you got to be on your toes with the way both these teams are substituting right now, as you mentioned.
You're getting your money's worth tonight.
Yeah, I am.
Utah 9 of its first 16 on this, and 4 of those makes from 3-point territory. Keller kicks. Loner from the baseline, and he soars for the flush.
And what a nice pass by Zach Keller, the other big guy who just got eligible, or got healthy, I guess I should say, 3 games ago. 6'10", 220, drove it to the basket. Loner with a nice feel for the game on that basket cut, and there was no doubt what he was going to do with that. That was like one of his 4 touchdown catches there.
Good chemistry on the low post to low post passing early in this first half for Utah. Macklin to the rim, and he lays it in. So Brandon Macklin up to 4 points in this opening half. Radford trails by a dozen in Salt Lake City. Keller flips it up. Gaines had it, and Keller going after the loose ball, whistled for the foul.
Watch this nice pass coming from Keller, and Loner with, boy, just a nice basket cut there. And you gotta love, like I said, he had no intention of laying that softly off the glass. He threw that down with a vengeance. Utah really on point and showing its depth now that they've got 3 new big guys in the last 3 games with Lovering, Keller, and Loner.
Going to jump ball. Possession arrow keeps it with Radford. 16 to shoot for the Highlanders. Radford, a team through their first 11 games, 10 times their bench has produced 24 or more points. But right now, Utah, half of their 26 have come from the bench.
Well, it's been a very interesting year and very tough, I think, for Craig Smith to manage. For 5 games, they didn't have their main 2 big guys, Lovering and Keller, healthy. So they played one way for 5 games. Then they get Keller and Lovering eligible for 2 games, are healthy. And then Caleb Loner comes in after that. So now in their 8th game, they're playing a whole new rotation and kind of a new way, so to speak. And that's got to be challenging for Craig Smith. Although he's very happy he's got all these guys intact now.
Miro Little finds Keller, partially blocked, but a late whistle and a foul on Radford. will send the Wake Forest transfer to the stripe.
Earl Little, the youngest guy on the Finnish national team, comes from a big basketball family. His mom and dad both played college basketball in New York, and he's got a real feel for putting that ball up around the rim for those big guys. In 8 games, he's had 5 or more assists in all but 1 game. And in that game, he had 4. His season high is 8. So as I mentioned earlier, I thought that last game, he really kind of came of age, where he had 36 minutes, 14 points, and 10 rebounds. That 10 rebounds is his second double-digit rebound game of the year, but his first double-double. He just keeps getting better. I had the first game November 5th, and he's gotten better, in my mind, every game he's played.
Zach Keller, just his 4th game back from an injury that sidelined him the first month of the season. Appeared in 27 games, 8 starts at Wake Forest last year for the Highlands Ranch, Colorado native. And he puts Utah up 11.
He was a 5A player of the year coming out of high school, very highly recruited. And Craig Smith was real excited about picking him up. He can shoot it too. He hadn't shown that yet, but at 6'10", he shoots it easy from the 3-point line.
Xavier Foster getting some run for just the 2nd time this season. SMU transfer late in the clock. Moss has to hoist and puts it in. An answered prayer as Jarvis Moss drills his 2nd triple.
Boy, and I thought Zach Keller did everything he could. He was on Moss like freckles on a redhead there, and Moss at 6'4" just jumped up and knocked that down. That good offense beats good defense every time.
Utah recovers the deflection. Madsen hoists. Missed it off the heel. Keller on the offensive glass. Madsen tries again and missed again. Wallin grabs a 3rd effort. Little drives. A lot of contact. It's knocked into the backcourt. Macklin racing to the hole, and he scores.
Nice finish by Macklin there after that no call down at the offensive end.
Wallin could not convert on a good pass from Madsen.
Jake Wallin really runs the court. He's at 6'10". He's actually a small forward. He still leads this team in steals after starting the first 5 games and then having to go to the bench when Lawson Lovering became eligible. Boy, he gives them experience and a lot of energy off the bench.
Jarvis Moss hits the deep 3, and Radford is within 3.
Wow, that was quite the run there in about 5 minutes. Utah was just about ready to double them up, and just quicker than a knife fight in the phone booth. Here is the Highlanders knocking on the door.
A 12-1 run put together by 9-2 Radford. And they've held Utah without a make from the field the last 3.5 minutes. Fans inside Huntsman thought a whistle should have blown. Instead, Radford very much alive in Salt Lake City. Utah led by as many as 15 early, but Radford has cut the deficit to 3 in large part to the hot shooting of Jarvis Moss. His second trip to the Huntsman Center, played a game here in a Stanford Cardinal uniform 2 seasons ago, and after missing his first 5 attempts from the field, he's connected on his last 4, including 3 from three-point territory.
Chris, he's gotten hotter than a Texas parking lot here this afternoon, and almost single-handedly brought the Highlanders back to within 1 bucket. A 1-possession game, 24-27. At one time, Utah almost had him doubled up. And between he and Macklin, they have both kind of started out 0 for 4 between them. They're now 7 of 12 between them. So you talk about heating up. They've kind of did that at the same time. Nice pass.
Jake Wallin free for the 2-hand rim rocker.
What a great pass by Lovering, but what a great cut by Wallin. I tell you, Jake Wallin's got a great feel for the game. Started the first 5 games, now coming off the bench. It was a time. He still leads them in steals, but he led them in blocks as well.
Felder into Neesmith, who turns and scores. So Radford, after missing 11 of their first 14 from the field, they've now made good on 8 of their last 9.
Well, it's way too deep of a post catch here. Lawson Lovering's got to get his post work done a little bit earlier than that. Neesmith, that was what coaches would call a power duck in there inside that little circle, and that was just way too deep. Look at this last pass. This is a 7'1" guy putting it on the money there, and Jake Wallin reading that. I think Radford tried to switch that, or did switch it, and Wallin read it and just broke that screen off and made a really nice cut to the basket.
The nation's top assisting team has assisted on 10 of its first 11 makes. Yamazaki into traffic. Davis resets. Suriautis. Turned back by Wallin. Madsen across the floor. Erickson knocks down the 3.
His third 3 or 3 from the three-point line is the super sub, Hunter Erickson, the star role player, as I say 2 or 3 times every game. He just does what do you need, that's what he does.
Knocked down 30 of those last season. 11 makes now this year. And a foul in the low post on Lawson Lovering, got tangled up with TJ Neesmith. So, Coach, this is how defense leads to offense.
Jake Wallin with a great block there. He actually leads the team in blocks at 7. And as you said, defense, then comes early offense. I love the way Hunter Erickson got down, got towed the line, got his footwork done early. When that ball hit his hands, he was ready to shoot it.
Isaiah Gaines fouled by Wallin on what Utah thought was another clean block.
Now I'm going to be a little bit critical here. That pass should never come in there. Mason Madsen, and I don't exactly know Coach Smith's philosophy on that, but Mason Madsen, if he's at that hard 45-degree angle with active hands, that takes that whole backside away. You should never give that up if you are in that position. They may have, by virtue of a scouting report, been playing him a little different there. But anytime you see a ball come in on that weak side like that, or that backside, you can prevent that if you were in the right position guarding the out-of-bound guy.
Isaiah Gaines, a transfer from Florida Atlantic, was on that Final Four team with the Owls 2 seasons ago. And it's a coaching connection that helped him land at Radford. Darius Nichols was an assistant with Dusty May, who's now Michigan's head coach, previously at Florida when Mike White was with the Gators. So those two got on the phone when Gaines hit the transfer portal and Dusty took the job in Ann Arbor. Going to stay here with Utah, 14 to shoot after Madsen was blocked underneath.
Well, Gaines is not a great scorer, but anytime you can pick a guy up at 6'8", 225 and very athletic, he is their second leading rebounder, second leading offensive rebounder. He was an outstanding pickup from Florida Atlantic.
Shot clock into single digits. Madsen sneaks it inside, and Lovering finishes with a dunk.
Gabe Madsen is so much more than just a shooter from the three-point line. He put that one through a crack in the door. He almost coaxed Lawson Lovering to where to go with that little head nod. And then, like I say, man, he put that on a line to him.
Well, the ball movement continues to be elite for these Utes. 12 assists on 13 makes.
Excuse me, Chris. I wanted the fans to see that little head nod that Gabe Madsen gave to Lovering first. Like, okay, just one more step, get right here, and almost coached him into where to go, and then made a great pass to him.
6 points for Lawson Lovering. Late in the clock here for Radford. Macklin corkscrews, patience. Couldn't flutter it in. Harris on the offensive glass has the stick back.
Josiah Harris, their second leading scorer and leading rebounder, leading offensive rebounder. Made a nice, went up and almost a crowd there and got that one.
Oh, this time Lovering has it knocked away.
Good offside defense there.
And Macklin created the turnover. Truth Harris and Josiah Harris sharing the floor right now for Radford. This is Josiah missing the follow-away shot.
Josiah Harris 2 games ago against North Carolina Central had a monster game. 16 points, 16 rebounds, which is a whole bunch of rebounds. But he just got that last offensive rebound and made a believer out of me.
Gaines. And a foul on Lovering, or they'll say Gaines stepped out. It's a turnover. Utah will have it when we return. 3:30 left in this opening half, and a 5-point lead for the Runnin' Utes in Salt Lake City. A 2,000-mile trip from Radford, North Carolina for the Highlanders out of the Big South. Darius Nichols, a Radford native in his 4th season as the head coach. He's got his brother Shane on the staff, who was an assistant coach at Murray State when John Morant, Memphis Grizzlies superstar, was there. Darius has done a nice job this season, 9-2. Best start in 30-some-odd years for this Radford program. And there's Shane, who's been by his side throughout this 9-2 start.
Well, 2 years ago, they went 21 and 15. Last year, they slipped to one game under 500, but he's done a nice job for the Highlanders.
Utah basketball out of the timeout. Lovering ducks inside, and it rolls in.
Really nice post move by Lovering. A little old-fashioned up and under there, and if you let him get at 7-1 with long arms that close to the basket, it's you better bring a luncheon and lantern, because it's going to be a long, long night.
Moss flips it up. Man, that was very close to a goaltend, but far enough down where Lovering was able to get away with it.
Hunter Erickson now with a new season high. His 3 for 3 from the three-point line, 9 points.
Macklin picks off the entry pass. Already his third steal. And out of control coming the other way. It's an offensive foul as Miro Little absorbed the charge.
Nice job by Miro Little. Taking a charge like that, just like getting a steal. You don't get the stat for that, but that was very good lateral movement and a lot of toughness there, sticking his nose in there by Brandon Macklin, who's not a small guy, 6'5", 215 pounds, out of Odessa College.
Odessa College in West Texas, former home of the #1 overall pick back in 1991, Larry Johnson.
The Odessa Wranglers, they're called.
Erickson already 3 made threes. By the way, that foul on Macklin, his second, so likely out of these final 2+ minutes of the opening 20. Little skips it. Madsen with 5 to shoot. Out to Erickson around the shot fake. He knifes inside. High arcing teardrop won't go, but he was fouled on the way up. And Hunter Erickson will have a chance to add to this lead at the free throw line.
I thought that was a good decision by Erickson, keeping the ball, getting it to the basket. Nice feel for where the shot clock was. Chance now to add to his season high 9 points. 3 of 3 from the three-point line. Hunter Erickson played all 37 games last year, and he is a co-holder of the record of most games played in a season. Gabe Madsen started all 37, and they've graduated 2 guys that played all 37. Only 4 guys in the history of U basketball to play 37 games in a season, and Hunter Erickson is one of them.
Utah 22 wins last year, went to the semifinal round of the NIT. And went 17-2 in this building. Off to a 6-1 start at home this season, with that lone loss coming in their most recent game a week ago here against St. Mary's.
That 22 wins was the most wins since 2017-18 season.
Radford fortunate that caught a sneaker. Shot clock reset to 20. And all of a sudden, after that hot stretch, the Highlanders haven't scored in 2.5 minutes.
Craig Smith had an NCAA bound team last year until they lost their starting point guard, Roley Wooster, and they were never the same team after that. They never really played with a pure point guard. They never really regained their rhythm, so to speak, offensively. But he's really had some buzzard luck. I'm talking about Craig Smith with injuries since he's been here at Utah. Just as they started this year with both Lovering and Keller out for the first 5 games.
That was the 8th Highlander turnover in the third in the last 2.5 minutes. Utah near 50% from the field this opening half. 5 makes from 3-point territory. Little skips it. Lovering to the rim, tried to throw it in, and instead he loses the handle.
Lost it on the way up. Utah playing small now with 2 big guys and 3 small guys along the perimeter. A lineup that I have not really seen much this year, if any at all.
Harris picked up by Erickson. Finds Josiah Harris, and he's rejected by Lovering. Utah on the move. Little finds Erickson in the corner. Now Madsen on a drive to the rack, and has it ripped away by Josiah Harris.
Teams just exchanging blocks there. I tell you, there's a reason Radford is 9-2. They've got no quit in them. They're a nice team with good size, good athleticism.
But they have not been taking care of the basketball. Alley-oop, and Lohner could not finish it. Erickson gets it back. A little easier this time for the tight end, plus the foul.
Really nice pump fake after he missed that dunk. A pump fake got his guy up in the air. What I like about this, the Utes never lost their concentration there. Hunter Erickson such an impact there. Watch him come all the way from out of bounds back to get the ball, and then a little flip pass there. As I said, Hunter Erickson is one of those guys. What do you need today, Coach? I'll do it for you. He is just has such an impact on this team. That's the reason he's on the floor right now. As I say, playing a smaller lineup with Gabe Matson, Erickson, Miro Little at the point, and then Louder. If you could call that small, Louder and Lawson Lovering, but 3 guards and 2 bigs.
Well, Utah opens their Big 12 season New Year's Eve with an afternoon tilt in Waco against Scott Drew's Baylor Bears, and it will be a return for Lawson Lovering and Miro Little, who spent last season in Baylor. About 11 seconds separate the big clock and the small clock. Utah back up 11. Moss with 5 to shoot. Neesmith sets the screen. Moss rolling to the cup, off balance, flip, and it finds the bottom of the net.
What a great shot by Moss, or almost a running hook shot, and that was over Lawson Lovering, who's 7-1.
Little across the floor, and Lohner did not get off the attempt in time. Jarvis Moss closes the opening half scoring with his game-high 13 points. But Utah has a 9-point advantage at the break, 40-31 over the Radford Highlanders from the Big South. Utah shoots 45% as a team, +1 on the glass, and assistant coach Josh Eilert joining us here at the break.
Coach Eilert, I thought you came out with great energy and focus defensively, and then maybe had just a little 2 or 3 minute letdown there a little bit, and then regained it going into halftime.
No, Moss really got going, and he's been a big emphasis scouting report wise. So we got to get to him and understand what he's capable of, and they're not going to go away. They've came back from 22-19 in the second half, so they're a resilient team and a tough team, and we just can't get sloppy.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck this second half.
Thank you.
All right, Josh Eilert breaking down the opening 20. Utah up 40-31 over Radford. Coming up at the half, we'll catch up with Utah big man Lawson Lovering, who's healthy and back on the court after missing the first month of the season. And our Utes Legend Spotlight will go back to the early 80s and one of the best players in Utah men's basketball history, Tom Chambers. That's coming up at the break.
So Lawson, you are a quiet, stoic guy off the floor, but on the floor, you are a verbal communicator. Where does that come from? Why the two different sides of Lawson Lovering?
You know, I've talked to my parents, and they both played college basketball, and they just told me you got to be two different people if you want to be good at the game. You got to be someone else on the court, someone that's going to contribute and find ways to win no matter what. And I found that with my voice and trying to communicate to my guys and try to tell them where to be on defense and try to anchor that defense in the back, because I can see everything on the court being a center and playing back there near the rim. So I'm just kind of two different people. I'm one person on the court, one person off the court. It's kind of a good outlet for me though, you know, and so I can be that stoic, quiet guy off the court because I get it all out there on the court and give it all I got out there.
This team's an interesting team because, like most teams in college basketball, it got turned over in the offseason. You guys have 7, 8, 9 new faces this year. But through the first month of the season and even into, you know, kind of fall camp, it felt like a very close-knit, connected group. And you were part of that. I know you missed a little bit of time, but why do you think this team's come together so quickly? And how much do you think that's impacted the early success?
I think that's on Coach Smith, is just the way he recruited this offseason and what he emphasized in his recruitment. It's just he wanted to get guys that want to play together and want to play as a team, and guys that are good people off the court. And so it's easy to get along with guys off the court, you know? And so that's credit to him and who he's brought in, and that's helped us have such good chemistry going into the season, even though we have all these new guys. And it should feel more difficult than it is, but it's really not, you know? And so I'm happy to be on this team with these guys.
Knowing that BC was going to be gone and you were going to kind of become the primary big on this team.
Yeah.
What was the work you put in the offseason? What was it that you worked on with your game? Because in just a couple of games we've seen you look improved.
Yeah, I think it's it's credit to Coach Eilert, biggest coach for us. He's really worked with me on finishing through contact, going into Big 12 play. We know it's going to be a lot more physical league than the Pac-12. And just being able to do that will open up a lot of opportunities for me to score the ball a little bit better, as well as just being better, even better on defense and communicating, and being a better rebounder as well, being able to track that ball, see where it comes off the rim and tracking it down and hunting it down and grabbing it with two hands every time.
Last thing, with the caliber of opponents coming in this year, quality of teams in the Big 12, a home court advantage could be huge. What would you say to Utah fans about coming out and supporting this team?
Yeah, I mean, the more you're here, the more I think we win. Honestly, the more you guys cheer loud, the better we'll perform. I feel like it's even if there's no fans in this place, it's a very hard place to play. I know this coming from Colorado, but when you guys are here, it makes it exponentially way harder to play here. And we love all you guys coming to the games. Doesn't matter who you are. We just want you to come, and we love all your support. And thank you guys for coming already. So I feel like we've had some good support so far, and I hope you guys come to more games, basically.
Everything you thought you knew is brand new. We on a new wave. This ain't what it was. See, when the game changes, so do we. Every day, every play. Always been greater than 12. Now standing 16 strong. In every end zone, any time zone. When everyone else keeps asking, what's next? We know we are.
Tom Chambers was born in Ogden, Utah, but he grew up in the state of Colorado, where he became a high school basketball star at Boulder's Fairview High School. In 1977, when it came time to choose where he would play his college basketball, Chambers chose to come back to the place where it all began, Utah. Chambers began his collegiate journey at Utah in the fall of 1977. In the first season, he averaged a respectable 6 points a game as a freshman. But it was the jump from freshman year to his sophomore year where Chambers began to become a star. In his second season on the Hill, Tom Chambers' average jumped 10 points, from 6 a game to 16 a game, earning him all WAC honors and helping Utah to the NCAA tournament for a third straight season. In his junior campaign, Chambers averaged 17 a game and was once again named All-Western Athletic Conference. Chambers' senior season was his best as a Ute, averaging nearly 19 points a game while being named first-team All-WAC and leading Utah to the Sweet 16. Later that summer, he was selected 8th overall in the 1981 NBA Draft by the San Diego Clippers.
San Diego selects 6'11", 240 pounds, Tom Chambers of Utah.
Tom Chambers would go on to play for 16 seasons in the NBA with the Clippers, the Sonics, the Suns, the Jazz, and more. He was a 4-time All-Star selection and MVP of the 1987 All-Star Game. Chambers had his number 24 jersey retired by the Phoenix Suns, and his number 42 jersey hangs in the rafters of the Huntsman Center. Tom Chambers, Utah basketball legend.
Splashes home the jumper.
Saturday night in Salt Lake City at the half. Utah 40-31 over Radford in the Runnin' Utes' penultimate non-conference home game of the year with Coach Joe Cravens, Chris Sylvester, our entire crew. And for Utah, a team that had gotten a ton from its starting five in previous games, it's been their bench that's poured in more than half of their 40 points there at the break. Hunter Erickson already has a season-high 11 points.
Well, he's perfect. 3 of 3 from the three-point line, 2 of 2 from the free throw line for those 11 points. He also has 2 assists to go along with that. with no turnovers. The super six-man, the super sub, as I've called him many, many times, has had a huge impact on this game.
He's hit 3 of the 5 trays for Utah in the opening 20. Meanwhile, Radford, they've been led by their leading scorer, 5th in the Big South, Jarvis Moss.
Well, he missed his first, missed his first handful of shots, and then all of a sudden, boy, he warmed up 3 of 4 from the three-point line, 5 of 9 overall for 13 points. He leads all scorers in this game, and he is feeling it from downtown right now.
Moss, who had connected on his final 5 shots of that opening half, had missed his first 4. Utah 45% from the field. They have assisted on 13 of their 15 makes. They'd like to rebound it better in the second half.
Well, these are 2 very good rebounding teams. Radford is +8 on the glass for the year. Utah +9.5. So that really doesn't surprise me. Utah's done a pretty good job of taking care of the ball. Only 5 turnovers. They only had 10 a week ago in their game against St. Mary's. But I guarantee you, this Radford team is not going away, down 9 here at halftime.
Radford winners of 5 straight, 9-2 through their first 11 games. And their only losses at Pittsburgh and Clemson. This is the 3rd of 4 power conference games they'll play before the Big South schedule commences shortly after the calendar flips to 2025. So Jarvis Moss, 2 years at Stanford. Last season only played a combined 18 minutes all year at Davidson. But getting a chance to have the keys to this Radford offense, leads them at 15.5 points per game. And the aforementioned 13 points to lead all scorers in that opening half. It'll be interesting to see how Craig Smith rolls out this first 5, and no Mike Shotov-Jumps, who's really struggled the last couple of weeks. Instead, Hunter Erickson, who leads Utah with 11 points, is out there to open the second half.
Gabe Madsen really struggled that first half. Only 1 of 9 from the field, 1 of 6 from the three-point line. He did lead them with 4 assists, though.
Lovering goes high off the window for the first points of the second half.
I like the way they went inside on their first possession. What a nice shot by Lovering with his left hand. Keep in mind, he's right-handed, and that was not right around the basket. I mean, that was really a nice left-handed shot.
Jarvis Moss picks up where he left off. Now a game-high 15 points. Lovering, the second Ute, into double figures. He's got 10. Little kicks. Madsen corkscrews. Back to Lovering in the low post. Backing in Harris. Little falling away and hits the jump shot.
By Little there, kind of looking to pass. No one open at 6'4". When he gets to the paint, it's easy for him to shoot it over the defense. He helped himself a little bit with that step back. Only 0 for 1 with no points in that first half, coming off his first career double-double.
Moss had it ripped away, and a late whistle for a reach-in foul. It's on Lawson Lovering.
Watch this last bucket by Miro Little. He gets it to the paint, looks to pass, looks the defense away a little bit, step back to his left, and again, a 6'4". When he gets it to the paint, he can jump up and shoot it over you and make plays there.
Inbound to Macklin. Erickson got hit in the face.
And I don't know if that was Moss coming off of that double, kind of a double staggering up screen, but Erickson took one right in the chops right there.
From Macklin.
And I don't think that was intentional. I think Macklin just kind of did the old, what they call swim move, and kind of swung his arms over his arms.
Take a look at the
but I think that's going to be a foul, probably.
Bert Smith, Chance Moore, D.G. Nelson, your officials tonight.
If I were guessing, I think that's going to be a personal foul, but not a flagrant 1 foul.
Right now, we're being told that the call is an offensive foul on Brandon Macklin, would be his 3rd.
And they could upgrade that, but I don't think they will. I don't think that was intentional. I don't think he meant to hit him in the face.
You and I were doing a game here last month where Erickson got hit elsewhere, and it was not upgraded.
No, and he was wishing it was upgraded and didn't happen. And that hurt a whole lot worse than getting hit in the face, I guarantee you.
Well, Erickson has done his part tonight in this double-figure lead for Utah with a season-high 11 points on perfect shooting.
Now watch this, what I call a swim move. Watch the way Macklin takes his top arm and comes over his arm and catches him. I don't know if he hit him in the nose or the eye there, but I tell you, Erickson is just a very, very tough kid, and boy, he went down immediately. Either that or he deserves an Oscar for that act, but I think he got hit maybe in the eye. Maybe, I don't know. See what the officials have to say here.
After review, we're upgrading the play to foul.
They did upgrade it to a flagrant 1 foul. Utah will go to the free throw line and I think shoot 2 and then get the ball out of bounds.
And Erickson will have a chance to add to his season high at the free throw stripe, where he's 2 for 2 tonight.
I'm sorry, just 1 shot, not 2, as Brett Smith corrected me, the official.
Well, I guess it is 2. Maybe
he didn't know.
Maybe he was saying flagrant 1, not flagrant 2.
That must have been what he was saying. Or he was ordering a beer from the beer vendor behind me. I'll just take 1, yeah, I guess.
But why not add a second?
Yeah, I guess he confused me on that. But I think that's the correct call, obviously.
Utah balloons this lead back to a baker's dozen. They led by as many as 15 in that opening half.
Thought Lawson Levering had a chance. He was looking for Ezra Azar to duck in there, and he did. Nice move to the basket. Gabe Madsen, who struggled to make jump shots, so he put his head down and just drove that to the basket. And speaking of size in the paint, he's 6'6". He's no shrinking violet when he gets it to the paint himself.
7 points for Madsen on 2 of 10 shooting.
Utah back to that smallish lineup that they had in the first half with Little, Erickson, Madsen, and 2 bigs.
Moss with a hand in his face, puts it in again. 18 for Jarvis Moss, and now 4 triples tonight for the ex-Stanford Cardinal.
Ezra Azar, pretty good defense there, and as guy I work for here, the Hall of Famer Rick Majerus used to say, good offense beats good defense every time.
Bodies hit the floor. Little tees a 3. And fighting for positioning underneath. The foul on Radford will give Utah a second bite at the apple.
Number 6 as he gains his second.
They also say hand up, so what?
No, that was really, I think that's about all Azar could do there. He made a great effort, contested the shot, and Moss, the leading scorer for the Highlanders, is the reason he's the leading scorer.
Inbound to Madsen. Off the side of the backboard. 1 of 7 from back there now for the best 3-point shooter and scorer in the Big 12.
And he's usually really good going to his right like that. And boy, he missed that one badly.
Sorry, Yautis misses underneath. And a foul on Radford. Trying to pluck an offensive rebound off the iron.
Great rebound by Hunter Erickson, who's having a terrific night. And as I've said, he's nothing if he isn't just tough as a pine knot when he gets on the floor. He brings you a lot of energy, a lot of toughness. Tonight he's shooting it in and really contributing at the offensive end. This has turned into a pretty physical game here, Chris.
Yeah, Radford's last game featured a combined 57 fouls in their overtime triumph over Bucknell, as Azar is fouled by Jonas Yautis. A couple of free throws for the East Carolina transfer on the way.
Ezra Azar just has a knack, and he has his whole career of getting to the free throw line. He's shot 57 free throws this year already coming into this game, not counting what he shot tonight. That's 7 per game. He shot 199 last year at East Carolina. He's on track to shoot well over 200 if he continues at this rate.
Second in the country, drawing nearly 9 fouls per 40 minutes.
Well, there's nothing pretty about when he gets it in a low block. He just turns and takes it right at you. The thing that's not doesn't help him a lot. He's a career 60% free throw shooter and shooting a little bit better than that, 61 this year. If he could get that up to about 70, it'd add a couple points to his scoring average. 2 for 2 there. He must have heard me talking about it.
4 points for Asar tonight, and the Utah lead grows back to 14. Yautis hounded by Asar.
I see the same energy defensively that the Utes started the game with. I thought that kind of left them a little bit there when the Highlanders made that run, but they're on point now. If you want to watch good defense, don't watch the guy guarding the ball. Watch away from the ball. Watch if the guys have stance and vision, the two keys to off-the-ball defense. Utah is all over that.
Yeah, Truth Harris put way too much on the attempt. Another good defensive sequence turned in by Hunter Erickson. Little lobs it in. Asar swings it out. Extra pass. Madsen, sidestep three. Bullseye! Timeout Radford. Utah has taken its largest lead of the night.
Utah passing up a great shot to get a good shot, and Gabe Madsen doing what good shooters do. They just keep on shooting it, and a great pass there by the great six-man Hunter Erickson. Come on back, folks.
Basketball season in the Big 12 just around the corner for the Runnin' Utes. Catch all 10 Runnin' Utes games at the Huntsman Center for just $120 in the Upper Bowl. Get single game or the Big 12 conference plan at utahtickets.com. Exciting times on the horizon with the conference schedule commencing for Utah on New Year's Eve against a very talented Baylor squad down in Waco, and then back here for the first Saturday of 2025 against Texas Tech.
Well, there's going to be some great basketball teams coming in. Last year, the Big 12 sent 8 teams to the NCAA tournament, Chris, and many people call it the best basketball league in the nation, and you won't get a whole lot of argument out of me on that one.
It probably got better with the additions over the summertime. Late in the clock here for Radford. Game spins and took an extra step. The 11th Radford turnover, and Utah will have it when we return. Utes up 17 on their home floor in their penultimate non-conference home game.
One more reason
Big O Tires has more than 460 locations nationwide. Chances are there's a location near you. Owned by someone in your neighborhood, we offer a wide range of diagnostic, repair, and routine maintenance services, backed by one of the best national service warranties, because everyone in our community deserves legendary care. Big O is the team you trust.
I can't express the importance of the donations that we get towards everything in our athletic department.
You know, every year you see somebody's life change.
It's an incredibly rewarding experience to know that you're supported by people who see the work that you put in.
Being able to have this opportunity and play for such an amazing fan base has been a dream come true.
Yeah, it's just thinking about that gives me a little goosebumps. It's the energy that gives us the extra push.
If teamwork is part of you, if passion is part of you, if dedication is part of you, if compassion is part of you, if purpose is part of you, if caring is part of you, be part of University of Utah Health.
This is for all the lonely people, thinking that life has passed them by. Don't give up until you drink from the silver cup and ride that highway in the sky.
We climb mountains every day at the University of Utah. Those mountains are called cancer, climate change, pain management, and mental health. But when we're not doing that, we're on trails called Devil's Castle, or bombing down runs called Gadzooks, because there's always more than one way to take on a mountain.
Welcome back to the Huntsman Center with Utah leading 53-36. Watch the way Hunter Erickson gets switched to a big guy. Watch how he competes here. Oversized. He bumps his guy, stays between him and the basket. And forget that he has a season high in points. That grit, that toughness, that's what he brings to this Ute team. What you didn't see is a timeout right after that, and his coach meeting him at half court and giving him knuckles. That, again, is what the Super Six-man Hunter Erickson does for this team.
And with the struggles of late for Mike shot of jumps, you wonder if Craig Smith, who started Hunter Erickson on the floor in this second half, would consider Erickson, as that won't count. Assar took an extra step before what would have been a highlight reel jam, but you almost wonder if there's a little bit of controversy here where maybe Hunter Erickson is in consideration to start down the stretch in non-conference play with only 2 games left after this one before the Big 12.
Well, you look at his contribution tonight on both ends of the court, and poor old Mike Sherrod-Jumps has just struggled mightily. Only 6 points in his last 3 games, scoreless in his last game, and it's just a confidence thing. And Craig Smith starting tonight, trying to help him get that confidence back. But I've said all along, it's hard to keep Hunter Erickson off the court.
Jarvis Moss, logo 3. And with how well he shot it, I'm almost a little surprised to not see that one go in.
Well, he's got 18 right now, and that leads his team.
Madsen misfires from the corner. Does have 2 makes to bring him up to 249 in a Utah uniform tonight.
And not to beat this horse to death, but Hunter Erickson also can play a point some and be the backup point guard in a pinch.
Chase Davis misfires from the outside. Here comes Madsen with a 2-hand flush.
Oh, that was end to end, and he threw that one down. Of course, Gabe Madsen is a good athlete, and he's 6'6", so that shouldn't surprise anybody.
Madsen has a dozen. It's a 13-3 run for Utah as TJ Neesmith gets on the board with his first points.
Now, I've bragged on him all night, Hunter Erickson I'm talking about, but that was his mistake defensively. He was too close to his man away from the ball. Should have been there to pick up that roll.
Madsen now just 2 for 10 from the long line in this game. Utah 6 of 18, but they've done their damage elsewhere. They've got 28 paint points in this game. Harris out of the shot fake, through the contact, high off the glass. Almost had a chance to recoil, and it's picked up by Erickson.
Erickson again on a loose ball. Of course, and that one just kind of rolled to him, but he seems to be around the ball all night.
Madsen feeds it to Lovering.
Madsen's 5th assist for the night that leads the team, and that's a really nice paint-to-paint pass by Gabe Madsen, and Lovering throwing that one down very, very emphatically.
Game high 5 assists for Gabe Madsen. Utah rolling to start this second half. They've outscored Radford 17-7.
Gabe Madsen inline to inline. If no one picks you up, take it all the way. And then a nice little, as I call, paint-to-paint pass. Love the way Gabe Madsen came to a 2-foot jump stop there. Totally under control. And a little flip pass to Lawson Lovering, who threw it down like a chubby kid on a teeter-totter.
Coach, Gabe Madsen only had 16 assists through Utah's first 8 games. He's got 5 tonight.
Well, he's done a nice job on a night that he's really having trouble finding the bottom of the basket, but doing a lot of other things, rebounding it, passing it, a couple hustle plays. This is a pretty efficient Utah team when they play a little small ball with these 3 guards on the court.
Radford has missed 6 of its first 9 attempts on this end, and that's allowed Utah to balloon this lead to 19. Macklin to the rim, and it rolls in.
Nice finish by Macklin, who's 6'5", big, strong kid. Not really a point guard. He has point guard stats. Leads the team in assists and turnovers, but just a kind of a jack of all trades guy.
8 points for Macklin as he pokes it out. Nice defense on Keller. Remember, he picked up that flagrant foul early in the half that kind of set the tone for this Utah heavy stretch.
Well, you kind of get the feeling, and I've talked about it before, Utah played one way for 5 straight games without their 2 big guys. They got them, then they got Lohner eligible or off the football team after 7 games. Still kind of feeling their way through the rotation and in different lineups.
Erickson touch pass. Mason Madsen couldn't hit it.
I thought that was a pretty good shot for him, a guy who's 5th in the Big 12 and made 3s. His brother is number 1. When those 2 guys heat up together, it is a thing of beauty.
Macklin spins, and into contact, he draws a foul. So Brandon Macklin has checked back in, and he has played with some urgency, and that's what Radford needs down 17 with 12 ticks left.
I'm just getting ready to say, Chris, before I stepped on you there a little bit, he seems to be ultra aggressive here in the second half. And Hunter Erickson, pretty good defense, except right at the last when he got his hand caught in a cookie jar there and kind of reached. If he kept his hand straight up, that would have been about all he could have done.
Macklin is the team leader in free throws, 63% on the season for the junior college transfer. Jake Wallin replaces Hunter Erickson, who just picked up his 2nd foul. He leaves with a team-high 13 points on 3 of 3 from the field and 4 of 4 at the free throw line.
New season highs we've mentioned, and only 2 away from his career highs. Career highs 15 against Hawaii last year.
10 points for Macklin, and Radford back within 15.
A lot of time left, 12 points, as we said before. This team coached by Darius Nichols is not going to go away. 9-2, riding a 5-game winning streak here.
Madsen to the corner. Wallin misses, and Josiah Harris clears it away.
Might be time for the Utes to go back inside. They've missed a couple 3s in a row here and have not gone to a low block for a little bit, but they've been good looks at 3. They just haven't gone in.
I tell you, Brandon Macklin's starting to cook. That's 6 straight for him.
Yes, he is.
A dozen for the game.
Macklin, as I mentioned earlier, coming off a 14-rebound game, and that's the most rebounds I think I can remember for a guy that's considered a point guard. Miro Little coming off a double-digit rebound game in his first career ever double-double.
Shot clock down to 5. Little stops and starts, hangs, and nobody touched it. Oh, they did. Harris is arguing that he never touched it, as is Darius Nichols over there on the Radford bench. And Utah will have 9/10 of a second to get off a shot when we return. Radford has cut the lead back to 13 with 11 minutes left to play in Salt Lake City. Just a dandy of a slate around college basketball on this second Saturday of December. Crosstown matchup went the way of 22nd ranked Cincinnati earlier. UCLA stormed back. Arizona's 4-5. Tommy Lloyd's team has stumbled out of the gate. Kansas got back on track with a 15-point win over NC State. Florida keeps rolling over Arizona State and Gonzaga UConn in a tight game at Madison Square Garden. Big 12 going to be one of the best leagues in college basketball again this season. See Arizona at the bottom there in terms of record. I think the Wildcats will have something to say about that by the time the Big 12 schedule commences.
Yeah, I don't think I would bet that they're going to finish last in the Big 12, that they're 4-5. They've lost a couple close ones, and they've played a really, really good schedule as well.
They lost to UCLA today on a neutral floor in Phoenix. Good to see both of those programs continue. It's been a great Pac-12 rivalry in previous years. Little could not grasp the miss from Macklin. Going to stay here with Radford. And again, these are the best records. Iowa State had a nice win in the Cy-Hawk rivalry game the other night. Arizona State, Bobby Hurley's team, off to a nice start.
A little surprised that Houston is 6-3 team. In a lot of polls were picked to win the Big 12. And again, they've played a pretty good schedule, but I guarantee Kelvin Sampson is on them pretty tough there in Houston, and they'll be very competitive once it gets conference time.
Macklin feeds it inside, and Foster somehow massages it in.
That's a very accurate description. Massages it in. That was kind of like a triple pump there almost.
Hunter Erickson back in the game. Keller spoon feeds Wallane. Down the lane, high off the glass, and a foul called. And if that's on Macklin, it's his fourth. It is. It's a big storyline here as Radford tries to claw back into this game with 10 minutes left.
Well, Macklin and Moss 18 and 12, 30 points between them, and that would be a huge loss if Macklin has to go to the bench. Jake Wallin, a nice move there, kind of a sweeping left-hand hook there. Jake Wallin didn't get extended minutes last year. Started the first 5 games. Very, very versatile player. Can play 2-3 different positions at 6'10". Is actually skill set wise a small forward. He had 6 steals in a game earlier this year, which is the second most. It was tied with several players, but 6 steals is a whole bunch of steals in one game.
Yeah, did that opening week against Central Arkansas. Now Utah leads by 13 inside of 10 minutes to play. Utes have one more non-conference home game left against Florida A&M on Tuesday. A steal. Erickson down the hatch.
Erickson now with a new career high 16 points, and what great hustle by Lawson Lovering getting on the floor for that ball. 7-1, all 7'1" of him was down on the floor there to help the Utes get that basket.
A career best 15 for Hunter Erickson. Moss lets it fly. Missed it off the front rim. Erickson for 3. Yes, sir!
That. How about Hunter Erickson? Have a night, kid.
He's a perfect 4 for 4 from distance. 18 for Hunter Erickson.
Which is also a career high. 4 made threes for Hunter Erickson.
Harris fouled by Lohner. Now you talk about bringing some electricity. The ignitable Hunter Erickson leading Utah off the bench.
Watch Lawson Lovering, though, getting on the floor to save that. Hunter Erickson showing he is more than just a shooter, quite the athlete, and coming down in transition, a step-in 3. He is having a huge, huge night, and no one deserves it more than Hunter Erickson.
Boy, and you talk about the impact a guy like Brandon Macklin has for Radford. He sparked an 8-0 stretch to get this game close to within single digits, and Darius Nichols kind of echoing what we're about to talk about as he puts Macklin back in the game with his 4 fouls. He comes on out, and Utah strings together 7 straight points. It's as if they're all out of sorts with this guy out of the game.
Well, he is definitely a glue guy. They're coming into this game the 3rd leading scorer. He was only a couple points behind Josiah Harris as their 2nd leading scorer. So he does an awfully lot for this team, and what he does the most, besides lead them in steals, assists, and 3rd leading scorer, is lead them in toughness. From Jackson, Tennessee originally. He had a couple uncles that played basketball at Ole Miss.
Entry pass knocked out by Radford with 20 to shoot.
Now Utah, I've talked about how they've played a small lineup. Now they're playing a big lineup with Jake Wallin as a small forward, and then Lawson Lovering, and then Louder as a power forward.
Off the sneaker of Foster, just the 7th Utah giveaway tonight. Done a great job of taking care of the basketball. Foster fires from the corner. Again, only his 2nd action. Been dealing with a back injury. Erickson finally misses. Foster spent the last 2 seasons at SMU, freshman year in the Big 12 at Iowa State.
Really good defense by Jake Wallin guarding that dribble drive.
Yamazaki fades, fires, and missed it.
And good defense by Hunter Erickson. Both guys just staying down, staying between their man and the basket. Nothing fancy, but that usually gets the job done. And Mason Madsen, the twin of Gabe, who's made the 5th most threes in the Big 12 this year, connecting on that one. Both those guys, just beautiful jump shots. Always great lift on the ball, always getting that ball to their shooting pocket before they let loose of it. And credit their dad, Luke, their high school coach, doing such a good job of teaching those 2 young men.
Late in the clock for Radford. Yamazaki gets it off. It draws iron. An offensive rebound for Gaines. Tried to throw it down. Instead, Foster skies and bends the iron.
Hey, this has been a pretty productive lineup. I kind of like that small lineup, but this big lineup is playing pretty well, too.
Nice pocket pass from Lovering. Mason Madsen did not finish it.
Too close. He's used to shooting way out there. He got up near the basket and couldn't make it go in.
Macklin doubled. Foster, extra pass. It's Truth Harris. In and out.
Utah just getting, seems like, every defensive rebound here with this big team on the court now. Subs waiting at the bench, both Little and Gabe Matson waiting to come in. And 3 for Radford waiting to come in.
Xavier Foster, nobody needed that foul more than him. He is gassed. Just his second game of the season. Utah up 17, 6:21 left to play on a Saturday night in Salt Lake City. All right, Utah doing what they do best in terms of sharing the basketball tonight. They've assisted on 18 of their 24 makes from the field. They're the best in the country, averaging almost 20.5 assists per game. Also a really good rebounding team and three-point shooting team.
Well, Chris, what I like about tonight, Gabe Matson, who's not having a very good shooting night, only 2 of 10 from the three-point line. He now leads them in assists with 5, which is his season high. So if you're not shooting it good, let's do something else. And the Utes only 7 turnovers. Gabe Matson also with 4 rebounds.
Utah trying to go for the jugular out of the timeout, and Wallin hammers it through.
They do that very well. When they dribble at the baseline, guy, that's kind of an element of this popular dribble handoff offense that a lot of colleges are running this year. You dribble it right at that guy on the baseline. If he's denied and he back cuts, and Jake Wallin read that to a T and made a great back cut and got himself a basket.
Asar the steal, could not finish it, but fouled by Suriautis, who had turned it over. Ezra Asar, we mentioned, one of the best in the country at drawing fouls. And Utah, best in the country at setting up teammates for easy makes like that.
Gave Matson 6 assists. I was bragging on him a season high 5. And again, that's kind of a principal element of that offense that many people are running this year, on a little dribble coming for a handoff. If you're denied, you read that and back cut. And no one has done that better than Jake Wallin.
Ezra Asar sinks the first of 2 free throws. This is now Utah's largest lead of the night, inside of 6 minutes. Radford has had a couple stretches in this game where they've made you think that, boy, they're on the way back. But every time Radford has put together a run, Utah has responded.
63 free throws now for Ezra Asar this year, and that makes him 4 of 6 for the night. As I said, he has a real knack for getting himself to the free throw line. Of course, he's 6'9", 240 pounds. That's big enough to go bear hunting with a switch in most states around the country.
Macklin lines up the 3 and connects. Had 6 threes in the game earlier this year at St. Francis. A multi-level scorer, up to 15 points for Radford. It's a corner 3, and Wallin can't cash in. Lovering to the floor. Possession arrow points the way of the Highlanders.
About Lawson Lovering, the second time tonight, he's given it up and got on the floor. And I'm telling you, every coach in the stands, every coach watching applauds that, because that's contagious. You get down on the floor, especially your center, everyone else thinks, whoa, I need to get the next loose ball. That's just been terrific by him. Watch him here. Just a great effort by Lawson Lovering. Comes from a basketball family. His mother played basketball at Fresno State. His dad at Colorado Christian.
Harris on the escape dribble and gets knocked down and fouled. It's on Ezra Asar, his first tonight.
Well, that was not certainly a flagrant foul by Asar, but he got his money's worth on that. I'll tell you, again, at 6'9", 240 pounds, he's a big, strong man in there.
Josiah Harris at his 4th school was at a pair of JUCOs at a high school, then went to St. Francis in Brooklyn before they abruptly dropped their entire athletics program a couple years ago.
As I said a couple games ago against North Carolina Central, I mentioned this in the first half. He had a monster game, 16 points, 16 rebounds.
His head coach, Darius Nichols, calls him one of the best rebounders he's ever been around. Really good free throw shooter, too.
He's 6'9", 225. All right, now Radford in a little 1-3-1 here. Let's see how Utah reacts to it.
Madsen gets it back and puts it in.
That's a pretty good reaction to it. Just go inside, go back outside, and let Madsen shoot it in. Madsen now his 3rd made 3 of the night, 3 for 11.
Number 250 in a Utah uniform, Felder. There's Harris on the offensive glass. Nice pass inside to Gaines for the flush.
Utah a little discombobulated there with their matchups off of that great offensive rebound by Josiah Harris. You know, you don't get every rebound up around the rim. He chased that one down from across the lane.
Miro Little cashes in from distance.
Miro Little now with 5 points. As I mentioned, coming off his first career double-double. Not having a big scoring night, but has made his presence known just by handling the ball and running the team.
Macklin steps back. Missed it off the back iron, and Harris whistled for an over-the-back foul. Utah right around where they average from three-point territory. Now 10 makes as a team, and back-to-back for Madsen and Little. Utah on the cusp of a 7-2 start. Only 2 more pre-Big 12 games remain for the Runnin' Utes. At home Tuesday against Florida A&M, and then to a neutral floor in Sioux Falls, South Dakota to take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Nationally televised game 4 days before Christmas, and then 10 days off to get ready for the gauntlet that is the Big 12. Baylor, Tech, and Iowa State. If you look at any type of bracketology right now, 4 of the next 5 games against teams that will likely be in the Big Dance.
I think Iowa State's like 3rd or 4th in the country right now, aren't they? They've had a couple great wins here early in the season, which surprises no one. They were picked to be very good this year.
Yeah, their only loss in Maui in late November against an Auburn team that has only dropped 1 game at Cameron Indoor.
And they just put a licking on Ohio State today. When I left the house to come here, they were up, I think, 22 at halftime over Ohio State.
Bruce Pearl's team coming out with a vengeance this year after they were upset by Yale in the round of 64 last season. But it's Tennessee atop the AP top 25, and they beat Illinois at the buzzer earlier today to stay perfect.
Go Vols.
Rick Barnes in that lockdown defense.
He's done a great job there, just like he has everywhere, Rick Barnes has.
All right, Utah up 20 here inside of 4 minutes. A nice bounce back for the Utes after suffering their first home loss a week ago against St. Mary's.
Nice defense by Gabe Matson. Terrific defense, staying between Macklin and the basket there.
Truth Harris, contested 3. Grazes off the side of the iron. Macklin comes away with it. Gains into contact and fouled by Wallin.
Watch Gabe Matson on defense here. He is not just a shooter. Watch him 3 different times. He doesn't give up his stance as Macklin tries to back dribble, hesitation dribble. When guys stand up on that, that's when they get beat off the dribble. Matson stayed in his stance on 3 different moves there. That was just outstanding.
Well, the Florida Atlantic transfer misfires on the first of 2 free throws. Radford has 1 more game in the Mountain Time Zone. They'll visit Colorado State, squad that's been to the Big Dance each of the last 2 years out of the Mountain West on Tuesday. Coming 2,000 miles for this 2-game road trip from Radford in North Carolina.
You know, it's a nice experience, actually. Going on the road is never a great experience, but being able to come out west, see Salt Lake City, to go to Colorado, that's something these kids will remember forever. And what I used to like as a player, when you go on the road, you usually eat pretty good. You know, when you're at home, sometimes those meals are not quite as plentiful. When you're on the road, the coaches make sure they feed the horses, so to speak.
Well, Salt Lake City's got some good eats. Erickson.
Erickson's only 2nd miss of the night, 5 of 6 before that, 5 of 7 for the night, 4 of 6 from the 3-point line to lead his team with 18 points.
Jarvis Moss led Radford in the opening half. He's been pretty quiet since the break. Loses the handle, a steal for Little. Numbers for the Runnin' Utes. And Madsen powers it up, couldn't finish. Macklin racing the other way. And Truth Harris for 3, puts it in.
What a nice pass there by Jarvis Moss, who has 18 points and could have very easily pulled the trigger on that, but gave up a good shot to get a great shot for his teammen.
Utah up 16 with 2:05 left on the second half clock. Radford now 7 of 23 from 3-point territory. The Colorado State game to close out this Mountain Time Zone road trip. And then a get-right game against Virginia Lynchburg before heading to Columbia, South Carolina to battle the Gamecocks, a team that was in the Big Dance. And then about 10 days off before taking on the preseason pick to win the Big South, High Point.
You know, I had a chance, as I mentioned early in the game, to sit down with Darius Nichols on the sideline while his team real early when they were just out shooting around. I said, Coach, you're off to a great start, 9-2. I said, but I've looked at the preseason polls, and you're picked 7th in a 9-team league. He's looked at me and he said, yeah, all the geniuses picked this number 7. I would venture to guess they're going to finish a little bit higher than 7th. They've got a very, very good team and gave Utah all they wanted for about 25 minutes here. And Utah's size and depth just kind of wore them down. But what a nice man Darius Nichols is. I can believe why these kids like to play for him. Just very personable. You could tell he's very demanding, but just very pleasant. I appreciate him taking time to talk to me.
Coaching in his hometown in Radford, Virginia, and in a lot of ways a dream job for him.
Yes. I asked him, I said, how do you like coaching in your hometown? He said, well, it depends on what day you ask me that, which I figured he'd come back with something like that. Sometimes that's really good being in your hometown. Sometimes it's not so good.
There are more Division I programs in college basketball than you think there in the Carolinas and Virginia region.
The Big South, a really good, very competitive league year in, year out.
Look out below, Jake Wallane.
Remember I talked about Jake Wallane's great feel for the game there, and that was a great pass by Miro Little, by the way. Jake Wallane setting that ball screen, reading that they were extending that, and just broke it off. Again, another great move, great basketball savvy by Jake Wallane.
Zion Walker, and a foul on the floor. It's on Miro Little.
His first 17
Utah's done a very good job, in my mind, tonight, guarding the dribble drive and not getting broken down by guys dribbling to the paint, having to force a help situation from your teammate and giving up easy baskets. I don't know that I've seen that at all tonight. They have done a really nice job of guarding the ball.
Walker, the true freshman from Burlington, North Carolina. Prolific scorer in high school, 3-star recruit. Has scored it in double figures 3 times this year.
I think he is the only freshman on this team. Freshmen have kind of gone by the way of the unicorn of this transfer.
The only one that sees time. Got some other guys that have not appeared in the game that are technically freshmen on the roster, but you're absolutely right, Coach. I mean, high school recruiting has gotten lower and lower on the priority list when you have junior college ready players, and obviously the transfer portal now is little is bumped.
With junior college players being recruited has taken a pretty sizable hit in this transfer portal now. As I talked to a couple coaches last year, they say the very first priority when the season's over in terms of recruiting is re-recruiting your players. It's talking guys into staying and not going to the transfer portal. Then you go to the transfer portal. Then you recruit high school guys and junior college guys, and that has changed dramatically since this transfer portal has become in vogue. There's a birthday boy, Coach Craig Smith. Speaking of personable coaches, Craig Smith is just one of the easiest guys to talk to for a guy who is very intense and really, really a good coach. When you talk to him, it's just like talking to a guy, your next door neighbor, just a very, very pleasant person.
Into our final minute, which could be significant for some. Walker finds Foster, and he loses the handle. Yeah, Little trying to get everybody involved to the end of the Utah bench.
Go to bed as her favorite son gets a win here tonight, and Vern and Beverly Smith, Craig's parents, could say good night.
And last touched by Radford. So just a second and a half separates the game clock and the shot clock here.
And a nice bounce back win for the Utes. And Radford again gave them all they wanted and competed to the very end. I think that again the Utes' size and depth kind of wore them down a little bit.
Craig Smith has told his guys not to attempt another shot, even though some folks wish they would.
Well, that'll go down as a turnover, but the right thing to do.
Well, that would have counted from Caleb Lohner. Craig Smith explaining to Darius Nichols that he told his guys not to trigger one there, but nonetheless, Utah with a nice bounce back tonight, 81-63. They end Radford's 5-game winning streak and improve to 7-2 on the season. All 7 of those wins here in Salt Lake City inside the Huntsman Center.
Utah back at home in a few days against Florida A&M, and just 2 games away from starting their debut in the Big 12 down at Baylor on New Year's Eve. 2 of the running Utes going back for a homecoming, so to speak. Caleb Lohner and Miro Little going back to Baylor, where they were last year. Their next game against Florida A&M coming next Tuesday.
Well, Utah winds up shooting 48% from the field en route to this victory. Or rather 47%. 48% in the second half. 10 makes from three-point territory, right around their season average. 15-21 at the free throw line. And again, it is a Craig Smith staple. They assisted on 22 of their 28 makes from the field. He has to be pleased with the sharing of the basketball. Surprisingly, they get out-rebounded tonight, but it didn't really matter in the final scoring margin.
Well, we talked about how Radford is a +8 for the season, rebounding-wise, coming off a game that they had 17 offensive rebounds. So that really doesn't surprise me all that much. Utah only 8 turnovers. They only had 10 last game, and that has been, again, kind of a staple of Craig Smith's coach teams. They really take care of the ball.
All right, Hunter Erickson will join us here in a moment, and he led all scorers with 18 points, 4 triples. The ignitable Hunter Erickson off the bench tonight.
Well, what I like about it, he's really ready to shoot the ball when it gets reversed to him. Great footwork. That ball hits his hands, and he is shot ready at every time. There's 3 in a row that he dropped like third-period French. He went for 4 before he missed his first 3-point shot.
Erickson knocking down 4 of Utah's 10 trays as a team. And the Utes improve to 7-2 here on their home floor. We are now joined by the player of the game, Hunter Erickson, 5th year, joining Coach Cravens and I here at the table inside Huntsman Center. Well, congratulations on the bounce-back victory.
Thank you.
You were ignitable off the bench tonight. Brought a lot of energy early when your number was called. Take me through what the last week has been for you guys in hopes of bouncing back and getting into the win column tonight.
I think our emphasis has just been, when you're on the floor, we're playing as hard as we possibly can. And I've just tried to embrace that coming off the bench. Like, when I'm on the floor, I'm playing as hard as I possibly can, and whatever happens, happens. And I got to trust the work that I've put in, and today it worked out.
Well, Hunter, you have been a terrific 6th man all year. You've played a couple different positions. I thought you played for the first time tonight, correct me if I'm wrong, long stretches with a small team with 3 perimeter guys and 2 big guys, and I really haven't seen that look this year.
Yeah. I think it's, you know, kind of a double-edged sword. We got to be able to box out and rebound when we got those lineups in, but we're pretty dangerous offensively when we got those lineups in, and I think we capitalized in those minutes, and I think that really helped us pull away.
Do you feel like with all the new big guys being added in the last 3 games, you're still kind of working on that rotation and that chemistry a little bit?
Yeah, definitely a little bit. And our offense is definitely a lot of flow and feel, and it just kind of takes time for those guys to get into that feel, because it's just a little different, a lot of freedom. So.
Well, you played a heck of a game tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I may be your biggest fan. I don't know if you've heard that or not.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Hunter Erickson, career best 18 points in Utah's win tonight. Our player of the game. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
All right, the Utes back in the win column, running away from Radford down the stretch, 81-63, your final score. We'll be back with you Tuesday for Utah's final non-conference home game. For our producer, Zach Blaine, director Mauricio Quijano, And, of course, the coach, Joe Cravens, and the rest of our outstanding crew. I'm Chris Sylvester saying, enjoy the rest of your Saturday night in Salt Lake City. It's 81-63, a final from Huntsman Center. The Utes are 7-2. Good night, everybody.